Hey everyone, I'm just doing a bit of a added video onto the start of this next interview. As you're about to watch, I totally messed up where I was and just totally mess up the name of the province and the instructor as well. And rather than do a retake, I ended up just kind of going with it, having a laugh about it. I think it's kind of funny. Hope you think it's funny too. I guess I can make the excuse. It's I've been traveling so much I'm forgetting where I'm at. But yeah. Anyway, so let's try this again. I'm in Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. There. And the video you're about to watch is me interviewing Professor Daniel Cobb of the Gracie Humaita Winnipeg. Probably mess up Humaita. Yeah. Anyways, enjoy. Hey everyone, it's December 8th, 2016. I'm in Winnipeg, Saskatchewan, Ontario. I'm sorry, Manitoba, Canada. And I'm here at the Gracie Humaita.
Yes.
Yeah, with Professor Daniel Cobb.
That's
right. Yeah. Thanks for having me here. It's been awesome training with you. Can you give us some a background on how you got into BJJ and here and
yeah. I started in judo when I was about 3.5 years old, something like that. I was born in England. My mom's Brazilian, my dad's British.
Okay.
And I was sort of on and off between judo, Jiu Jitsu, and soccer, of course, living in Brazil.
Yeah.
I moved to Brazil when I was 5 and lived there till I was 12. So from that age, 3.5, 4, till 12, I was sort of on and off between those three, never really competing in it. And then we moved to Canada, just, better life here and that for us. And I got into football here. And when I was about 16, 17, I got into jiu-jitsu here again. A friend of mine who played with me who played football with me, was doing Brazilian jiu-jitsu. And he said, why don't you come out one time with me? And I fell in love with it right away, and I stuck with it ever since. So
that's cool.
Yeah.
So that was, sorry, when was that?
That would have been, I was 16 going on 17, or just turned 16. It was my end of grade 11 year.
So, and you've always been at this
I've
club?
always been, under Professor Rodrigo Munduruca until the day he moved to San Diego, yeah.
And then he gave you club to you.
And then I took over as an instructor with a good team of guys who all complement each other and make this thing go forward and grow, yeah.
That's crazy. I met him, actually. I was down in San Diego 2 years ago, and he had just moved down there.
Okay.
And he had told me he had been here for 18 years running the club, and then he just got enough of the winters.
Yeah, totally. It was just a hatred of the weather.
Yeah,
exactly.
It's funny how much of a small world jiu-jitsu really is, where it can have such a run into people that are all connected that way.
Totally.
Yeah,
the 6 degrees of separation, right? I think it's like 2 degrees, 1 degree of separation for us in the community. Yeah,
exactly. Was this the first club in Winnipeg?
This is the first crew of guys training together in Winnipeg.
Okay.
I believe the gym started in 94, 95 under a different name.
Okay.
And that gym changed ownership at some point, changed the name again. Some partnerships were made, the name changed again. And then we sort of became associated to the Gracie Humaita Association. And when we split from that previous partnership, we kind of took it on as, let's say, what we advertise ourselves at, whereas before it was a different brand, let's say.
Okay.
But it was the same core group of guys who actually, all the other gyms in Winnipeg were sort of offshoots of this original group. Mm-hmm. So there was never sort of two different lineages that came in the city. We all come from the same sort of source, if you want to call it that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because when I was just in Regina, I hit up Sweep Science and Complete MMA, and both of them said to come here to check you guys out. And I already had that in the books anyways. Right. And they were saying like, you guys are great guys, and it's a big community kind of because they've, you know, even not so much as just competing, but like dropping by.
Right.
They said that, you know, you guys are so helpful with the other clubs and stuff. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's the way to be, right? Our competition, you know what I mean? If anything, it's with the stuff that's going on that isn't jiu-jitsu related, really, right? It's people, we can't handle that work, our emotions, you know what I mean? That's where the real obstacles are to us, right? When we're competing, jiu-jitsu competitions, that's a different story. But even, you know, in a business sense, this idea that we'd be mad at other jiu-jitsu guys, don't have to, you know what I mean? We're competing against karate and taekwondo, you know what I mean? So amongst jiu-jitsu, you know, the jiu-jitsu community, we're all, you know what I mean, family, essentially, right? Yeah. A great extended family. I can go to some places, I'm extremely well received, you know what I mean? And the least I can do is return that level of you know, of hosting, the level of, you know what I mean, bringing them in like that.
Hospitality,
that level of hospitality.
Yeah. Well, that's one thing I've been experiencing, really noticing when I'm out there traveling so far. So I'm about a month into it, going across Canada, and as you can tell from the intro, I can't even remember where I'm at. But I found like everyone's very receptive. And you know, like, oh, you know, where are you from? You know, that's cool. What are you doing here? Awesome, happy to have you. And then
everybody's jealous of your trip.
Yeah. I guess. I mean, like, you know,
he's doing the trip I wanted to be doing.
Yeah. Yeah, but then you wouldn't have this. So when you're running your clubs, so what is your kind of your key elements when you're running your classes that you like to, like you were saying, it's not just so much as technique and the moves, but I mean it's the whole, you're really guiding people, people, right?
Yeah, totally. I think there's a few elements. Like there's definitely the element, you know, where the quality of jiu-jitsu needs to be there, of course, you know. But I think the biggest thing is we need to have an understanding, you know, of what this really is in people's lives. Because if we don't understand, as instructors, as people who run programs, you know what I mean, what this really is in people's lives, we're like a puzzle that doesn't fit right, you know what I mean, sort of a thing. And so I try to always bring bring to the table a level of understanding that most, pretty well all the student base here, you know, except for pretty much the kids, work 40-hour-a-week job, 50-hour-a-week job. Likely a lot of them do what they don't love for a living, you know what I mean, have to put up with some other stuff maybe in their lives that they don't like so much. And so when the person chooses to spend those last little bit of free time that they have, they choose to spend it with me, I have to be a positive charge in their life. I can't be a negative drain. I can't show up and expect this person to work a second job here, you know what I mean, with me. So I try to bring a level of energy and positivity so that they can recharge, go back, and feel like they recharged, you know what I mean? You can get negative, the negativity sucks the positivity out of you.
It does.
So having a place, and I think that's where we've been quite successful here, is because we're constantly expressing this to our students, so they understand that there is a certain level of a vibe that we want to keep, so that this can keep being that positive place.
That's cool. That's what I'm sure myself and many other people watching, like, you know, that's what we love to hear, right? That's, to me, the core of jiu-jitsu, right?
Right.
I was talking to someone the other day. If you don't know, I'm in, you know, Winnipeg. Got hit with a bunch of snow, and being that I'm from, was just spending the last 4 years out in Victoria, BC, where there's no snow. It's kind of been a bit of an obstacle getting around town. Yeah. But you know, I'm loving it, right? Because it's like, well, what else do I have to do, right? I'm like, whatever. So I have something to deal with, you know. Let's troubleshoot this out, you know. And it's. I mean, a lot of other people like to refer to the mats as the laboratory, right? Right. And I find, for me, and I was talking to my friend about, it was like, you're not just working on, like, you know, bettering yourself physically, but mentally, and working like troubleshooting. Totally. Yeah, and I'm like, okay, so, you know, I missed that bus, and this bus took me somewhere else. Yeah. Like, you know, can't be mad. What are you gonna be mad about, right? Yeah. And I've been finding like just this trip in general, taking everything with stride, right? Like I'm like, if I did this trip a few years ago, I'd be mad. There's so many different things, small
a different
things.
person. Yeah, a different person taking a trip.
Yeah, just mad all the time, right? And now I'm like, yeah, I'm not mad because I'm used to being in an uncomfortable place, right? There's a meme I saw that said, Jiu Jitsu makes me comfortable with being uncomfortable. Yeah.
That's huge.
So you were saying you did a bit of judo and jiu-jitsu back in Brazil when you were growing up.
Yes.
So how was that different from here? Was it? Because I've talked to other people that were saying like they were training in like the early '90s and there's a lot of fighting and like a lot.
Because of how young I was at the time and so on, and what I kind of remember. I remember more, I remember for jiu-jitsu moves, I remember an Americana. I remember a drop seonagi and some trips in judo. I remember a rear naked choke and armbar, but like really I don't remember. And playing, I remember playing a lot in the gym. I remember playing a lot of British Bulldog, a lot of different games, obstacle courses and stuff like that. I don't have as much a memory, to be honest, of sort of the people and the dynamic of the gym outside of that. The adult classes coming in after. I don't really have a very good memory of that, to be honest. Actually, when one of the programs that I was in, there was no adult program after. So
really?
It was just through my school. The school kind of had a teacher who would come in and do this after-school program.
Cool.
And the other bit that I was at, because I got to train at Gracie Humaita when I was really little for a short period of time, but I just don't remember again seeing the adults and all that.
Do you go back once in a while, or?
You know what, I was going twice a year, every year, until about 5 years ago, where I've just kind of been pedal to the metal with working and really focused on stuff with not just the gym, but stuff here in the city. But I'm hoping to go back next year, visit my family, and both the academy and my family.
Both families.
Both families, exactly.
So how was it visiting in like you got on the mats and trained there?
Since gone back since? It was great. One of the things I think is a lot of North Americans can a lot of people who aren't Brazilian, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and then we get caught to this idea of Brazilians, you know what I mean, and so on. And man, there's tough guys everywhere. It's really, there's really tough guys. Schools that are run by guys who are non-Brazilians, and then you get some schools that they aren't so tough and they are run by some Brazilians, you know what I mean? So really it's to the individual and the standards I think he upholds, you know what I mean? Because for us here, I think my instructor, Professor Munduruca, did that very well, and so when I went to Brazil, I didn't feel out of place at my belt, and I don't think any of the guys that train with us here, when they travel, they go elsewhere, do they feel, if they had a purple belt, like they were ashamed of wearing the purple belt after leaving the mats. So it was a positive experience from that sense, and then I met tons of people, learned tons of black belts. You should see Gracie Humaita in Rio, man. There's more black belts than other people in the gym. It's crazy.
That'd be intimidating, I think. Like for me,
it was intimidating. Totally. There's like life log. You see the pictures on the wall. And there's pictures of your heroes. You got Hicks and you got Hoyer, all these other past Gracies on the wall, and these guys that are here on the mat with you, or the guys who are in the picture with these guys. You know what I mean? So,
that's crazy. No, the reason I ask is because that's pretty much my number one question I get when I talk to people about my journey. They're like, "Are you going to Brazil?" And I'm always like, eventually. I want to make sure, I get enough friends that kind of know, like, as I'm traveling, and get the sense,
that you're taking care of when you go. 100%.
Because, I don't want to, I've heard stories of like people that just show up that, are vacationing in Brazil, and, they just kind of show up to drop in, and, they get kind of, put through the trials to see, if they measure up, right?
Totally.
Totally.
It's again, depending what gym you go to, I think that a lot of places they're like that, but much more with regards to your character. So say, for example, I'm much more likely here to put a student of mine and not an enforcer to go beat up on a guy who's new, who I haven't seen train. I'm more likely to put a guy who is experienced, obviously, to be who I'm confident he can protect himself and protect his partner, but more for him to allow the partner to show us how he's going to train. Is he here? Exactly. Is he here to measure himself up against other people? Is he here just to look for that positivity for himself? You know what I mean? And typically, if that's what they're here for, if they're here for the positivity aspect, they're not slamming, squishing, and doing this kind of stuff to other people. You know what I mean? And so that gets reciprocated, and everybody, we make a new friend.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Essentially. So, yeah.
That's and that's kind of the mindset I keep when I travel, when I'm going to new clubs. Is, you know, like we were rolling yesterday, and I mean, you caught me on some really sneaky stuff. He's sneaky, so, you know, and I just laughed it off. I was like, "This is hilarious! I can't believe I fall. I like totally fell in this trap so well." And even some of the students, is the same thing. I get caught something, and we're like, "Oh, that's an awesome sweep." I mean, what else are you supposed to do, right? Like, it's happened. It's like you laugh, you keep continuing. I love it, right? Yeah. So, and I've had it where I've been at a club and I'm kind of laughing about it, and I get a weird look at me, like they're like, "What? You know, you just got tapped out." I'm like, "And?" You know? Yeah.
I think it's a different mindsets, right? If you're a competitor and you're focused really hard on the competition, there's good sometimes to, in that moment, to have that little bit of an edge, because you're trying to make sure that whatever you're doing, that competition training session, is going to work for you the day you need it.
Yeah.
So if it isn't working, it can be a bit frustrating. But man, you're around people who, they're not here to, you know what I mean, get mad or, you know what I mean, perfect for a medal. You know what I mean? They're here to feel confident, you know what I mean, feel confident, feel that positivity, feel that they can defend themselves should the situation arise, understand when to walk away, right? And then the competing comes for that elite guy or person, you know what I mean, who really needs that to feed their soul, essentially, right? It's like a competitive nature. Yeah.
And you have like a competition-specific class, right?
Yeah.
And so are you looking at, like, when you do those, are those set like more physical, like drills, or how do you kind of differentiate from a normal class to a competition class?
The way we differentiate, the primary distinction, because different classes, they get structured different ways. We started that about a year and a half ago now, and it was a once a month for 2-hour session.
Okay.
To really sort of start it gradually and really start to pick up and start to build, you know what I mean? You got to go to comp class, you got to go to comp, oh, what's that? Oh, you got to wait till next month, you know what I mean? And then start to hype it up, kind of a thing. And now we're on to a weekly one with weekly 1-hour sessions with the 1 2-hour session. But basically, they all defer the workouts and what we end up doing, but the main focus, the big difference, is that we add a context.
Okay.
And what that means is, when you're in the academy and you're training, I don't care, I just play on my back, I play on top, the guy sweeps me, I don't count the points, you understand? But that fighting, when you translate it to competition, is completely different. In the competition, what's going to happen is one guy gets up on points, hold for dear life, and he's going to play that game.
Okay, yeah.
You see, so the context is very important. Who's winning? Who's losing? How much time is left on the clock?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? These are very important. And so that's what I try to bring to these guys when we do the comp training is, okay, you train, you perfect your technique, rolling with everybody, the entire community. You're always improving your technique and your game, asking your partner, hey, hold me here, hey, hold me there, let me try to get out. But competition training, I turn the clock on, 10 seconds, get the single leg, put him down, he's stalling. You know what I mean? And that's the game type of stuff, you know.
So like situational.
All situational.
Yeah.
All situational. You're stuck in the deep half. The guy on the bottom is up by 2 points. You need the pass to win, or you need to end up on his back, or you need to mount, or you need to stand up, take him down. 15 seconds, 30 seconds. You know what I mean? And usually we start with a little bit of a longer time period, and maybe we'll do, for example, one workout might look like we started with, say, giving the guys 45 seconds to think their way through the position and to start working the way out. Then we bring that down to 40, 30. And then we bring that down to 20. And then we bring that down to the point where they have a game plan that the second they get there, they implement it.
Okay, nice.
So that's the idea. It's a young program still, but watch out, we're coming.
Yeah, well, it sounds really interesting. I'm not really at a competition level. I don't think I'd last very long with your guys holding the
Sure, you'd be surprised. You'd do all right.
doing explosive techniques. Yeah. One last question though. So you trained under Professor Rodrigo.
Yes.
So how was that training under him those years? Because he's quite the character.
He is quite the character.
Yeah.
So the lovely thing was it was almost like watching a stand-up comedy show every class,
Yeah.
right? He's got a great sense of humor and amazing techniques. The nice thing
Yeah.
is when you can get a coach who combines the aspect of being big and being able to give you the perspective of what would the big guy do,
Yeah.
but simultaneously be enough, a high and skill enough, a high level, of skill where the moves they teach you, like when you roll with Rodrigo, the moves he's doing to you are moves that small people do. He moves fast.
He's very graceful and he's a big guy.
And he's a big guy,
Yeah.
exactly. And so, and it's one of the interesting things, you get some gyms where they only have this size person, they only have this size person. But our gym, you've got tiny people, you've got very large people. The big guys, there's no lack of training partners. The small guys, there's no lack of training partners. Women, there's no lack of training like the whole shebang, So it was great. It was an honor. He was an older brother. He is an older brother to me, I miss him dearly. So and he's
cool.
going to be here next week.
Yeah, that's cool. By the time this plays, it'll probably be like a week afterwards.
Okay.
Yeah, it's too bad I couldn't be here for that. When I was in Edmonton, I just the day after missed Eduardo Tellis.
Oh,
he was
really?
up there, yeah. But I managed to get into the open mat the next day. But yeah, I seem to be just missing all these seminars as I'm traveling, right?
Yeah.
Maybe I'll make it to one eventually. But
Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, it's been a blast. Thank you so much for having me here on your mats and doing this interview.
Great.
Thank
you.
And I'll have the link up for this club, guys. And if you're in Winnipeg, hopefully not in the winter like I am, check out the Gracie Humaita Winnipeg. And until next time, see you guys on the mats. Oos.